where you are or if it's...
We are breaking into programming as we are tracking severe weather here at Action News. We do have tornado warnings that have been issued by the National Weather Service. You can see that this encompasses portions of Lancaster County, also working its way into south central Berks County and also into north central Chester County. So we're going to zoom on into here just so you can see a few of the communities, and where we have the red polygon is that tornado warning in itself. So we're looking at, again, parts of Lancaster County, also into Chester County, and I'm going to read off the information from this tornado warning. This was issued by the National Weather Service at 11:09. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing both tornadoes and straight line wind damage were located near Honeybrook, or 9 miles southeast of New Holland, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So we again are looking at parts of Lancaster County, also south central Berks County and north central Chester County. Now, within this warning, nothing has been seen by anybody personally, but this storm is capable again of producing a tornado. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the current radar view right now, and you can see how active the situation is getting across our viewing area. We have tornado warnings and then also severe thunderstorm warnings, but it's the area right in here, a little difficult to make out with the polygon, but the areas right in here where we do have those strong thunderstorms that are capable of producing a tornado and also straight line wind damage. So if you are tuning in right now, you do want to make sure that you get into your safe location. We always reiterate, when there is a tornado warning, you want to get down into the lowest level of your home, such as a basement. Now, I know not everybody has a basement, but what you can do is get into the most interior room of the structure that you're in. That could include a closet or an interior hallway. What you essentially want to be doing is getting away from windows. Anything that could blow, glass breaking in a situation like this from a tornado or straight line wind damage could cause some injuries. So you want to stay in this area until the storm is no longer an issue. So again, if you are just tuning in with us now, here on 6ABC, we are on the air as we continue to track severe thunderstorms that are capable of producing a tornado. So I'm going to leave the warning up on here, and I'm also going to read some of the information that's coming in from the National Weather Service at this hour. This tornado warning is until 11:15 in Lancaster County, and then the newly issued tornado warning is until 11:45 here, and that does include parts of Chester County and also into parts of Berks County. So as I read some of the information from the actual bulletin from the National Weather Service, some of the locations that they're concerned about could be Birdsboro, also Honeybrook, Elverson, New Morgan, Glenmore, and Pewtown. For anybody that might be on the road or know of somebody that might be traveling, this includes the Pennsylvania Turnpike between mile markers 298 and 308, also along Interstate 176 in Pennsylvania near mile marker 1. So we're continuing to follow the very latest with this tornado warning that was issued by the National Weather Service. And just bear with me for a moment as I look at some of the information that's coming in through the chat right now. All right, it looks like if you are in Lancaster County, that warning has been allowed to expire. That warning was until 11:15. So now the main area that we're watching here is again into parts of Chester County and also into Berks County. This does include the south central portion of Berks County and also the north central area of Chester County. So we'll go ahead and look at the radar view right now, and you can see a very active line that's coming together here. And we'll go ahead and put it on the latest frame so you can see where this line is right now. And here we have that tornado warning. So again, going over some communities like Honeybrook, also into Wallace Township, Elverson. We're looking at routes 401, 322, 282, Also in the area here of St. Peters Township, Culp Town, and this again moving its way to the north and east. So anyone that might be joining us right now, you want to make sure that you are getting into the lowest level of your home. At this point, there has been no tornado confirmed to the National Weather Service, but this is a very dangerous situation for anybody that might be in the path of this storm. So here's a look at some of the tips. Again, if you are joining us here on 6 ABC, you want to seek shelter now. This tornado warning that was issued by the National Weather Service is not just for the fact that there could be a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, but we're also looking at the threat of straight line winds. That has been one of our greatest threats for severe weather today. And with those straight line winds, oftentimes you can have just as much destruction as a tornado itself when you're looking at the threat of winds anywhere from 60 to even 70 miles per hour. So again, you want to make sure that you are seeking shelter right now, as this is a very dangerous situation. Back on radar at the moment here, you can see all of the activity that's coming together, and these thunderstorms are going to continue to press their way east. So if you're tuning in from Philadelphia right now, you are in the clear. But these thunderstorms are going to be continuing to move their way toward the city. We're going to pull up the warning once again. Just bear with me here as I try and get the radar to pause for a moment. And all right, now we're going to try and pull in some areas that are in the path of this thunderstorm. So right now it is moving northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So we're going to put a tracker on here and populate it to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So here you go. This gives us a few other communities that are in the path of this severe thunderstorm that's capable of producing a tornado. So if you see or hear me read off your town, you need to be in your safe location right now. 1126 Supley. So you have about 6 minutes until the worst of this storm is over your area. 1131 in West Nantmeal Township. 1138 East Nantmeal Township. 1141 in the area of Nantmeal Village, and 1145 in South Coventry. So again, if I read off your community, now is the time to be in your safe location as we are dealing with some dangerous storms. So we'll pull this back on radar so we can look again at the movement of the storms that continue to move their way to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. For anybody that might just be switching on to 6 ABC, or maybe you're streaming from your basement of your home, I'm hoping that's where everyone is right now. We are on the air because there is a tornado warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service. This is for South Central Berks County and North Central Chester County. These are both in southeastern and eastern Pennsylvania. I know things are a little difficult to see here with the radar view, so we'll go ahead and clean up the image for you here so you can see a better polygon view of this tornado warning. So right here in red is where that tornado warning is. And we are looking at the potential of severe thunderstorms that are capable of producing a tornado or hail up to quarter size. So that's where you can see that 1-inch hail diameter that's possible. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed, and there could be damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles. Also, we're looking at the threat of tree damage with these thunderstorms that are moving their way again to the north and east at 35 miles per hour. And I do want to mention the fact that where we do have the orange polygons are severe thunderstorm warnings. And although that doesn't exactly have the designation from the National Weather Service as a tornado warning, I do want to mention that the severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Newcastle County, Delaware, Gloucester, Salem County, New Jersey, Berks, Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery County do have the threat of producing a tornado. Although there is no tornado warning within these areas in this orange polygon, the threat is still on the table. So the National Weather Service is including that type of verbiage within their warning. And if you find yourself in those locations, your severe thunderstorm warning is until 12 o'clock Eastern time. So we're going to go ahead and put this back on our radar view to see the trajectory of these thunderstorms. And you can see we're not just dealing with the threat of cells that can produce tornadoes. We're also dealing with some very heavy downpours. So the chances are anybody that might be in the path of these thunderstorms may not be able to see if a tornado is in progress. The intensity of the thunderstorms, also the threat of lightning as these storms continue to move their way just to the east. So they're getting right toward the heart of the I-95 corridor at this hour. So as we look at the tornado warning again that has been issued by the National Weather Service, please everyone make sure you're in your safe location. Southeastern Berks County, also into parts of northern Chester County, you are under that tornado warning until 11:45 Eastern time. At this point, I'm not seeing any storm reports that are coming in from the National Weather Service. I'm not seeing any updates to the warning. So we're going to continue to stay on the air with you here until the tornado threat is no longer out there. So I'm going to go back onto radar here and populate a few more communities like we just did a couple of moments ago. And we'll go ahead and put this on the latest frame. And here you can see, again, Lancaster County, you were once under a tornado warning. The tornado threat has ended for you, but it's this area in red that we're looking at, that thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. And here you can see the updated times that just populated. Right now the time is 11:23. Supply, you want to be in your safe location. The worst of this cell will be moving over your community at 11:32. 11:35, Lewis Mills. 11:38 in Wallace, that could be Wallace or Wallace Township. And then a little bit later, 11:43, you have about 20 minutes to get into your safe location before this is in the worst of your area, East Nantmeal Township. And then also 11:46 Nantmeal Village, and now we're looking at 11:51 in South Coventry. So I'm looking at the latest from the National Weather Service. They've now canceled the tornado warning in Berks County, so that's good news. Let's go ahead and clean up the radar and get a fresh view of the warning now. So again, if you're tuning in from Berks County, you are no longer in the tornado warning. I'm going to go ahead and click the latest update that just came in from the National Weather Service, and I'll read this to you while we're on the air right now. Okay, so the first thing that they mentioned, how the tornado warning has been canceled for Berks County. The tornadic thunderstorm which prompted the warning has moved out of this particular warned area, therefore the warning has been canceled. However, the tornado warning remains in effect until 11:45 for north central Chester County. Now, what they're concerned about, again, we are talking about the potential of straight line wind damage. We basically have a squall line that's setting up here, and this is basically congealing into a line of thunderstorms. If we can look at the radar here, looping over the last 30 minutes, you can see the line that I'm referring to. That's pretty much setting up from Maryland on north and east toward Chester County, starting to come together in Montgomery County. This severe squall line is capable of producing both tornadoes and also extensive straight line wind damage. And the latest update had the worst of the cell over Glenmore, or 12 miles northwest of Westchester, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Your hazard is going to be that tornado threat and also quarter-size hail. Now, some of the locations that they mentioned in particular, Elverson, Glenmore, and also Pewtown. So if we go ahead and pause the radar, we'll once again look at the latest communities that are in the path of this storm that are capable of producing a tornado. Let me go ahead and put the warning back on here. And with this warning, again, we haven't had any confirmation of tornadoes, but as we've all seen with severe weather in our area, even straight line wind damage can do a lot of problems. So this is moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. And we're gonna take that.
And Brittany, this is a very fluid situation, obviously, just because started around, what, 11 a.m. with these warnings. Some of them, like you mentioned earlier, cancellations, others popping up in different parts. What should people, I mean, I know that you were saying, like, if you're tuning in, you need to be following, you know, get in a safe place. If you don't have a safe space to go to, particularly a basement, what should somebody do? Yeah,
absolutely. I know everybody doesn't have the opportunity to have a basement, but you can also get into interior rooms. So what you're trying to do is put yourself with many walls between you, and you're looking at wanting to be away from glass. You want to be away from windows. So if you do not have a basement, you can get into a hallway closet. You can get into a bathroom. I know this might sound silly, but you can grab your helmet to sit in your bathtub and stay there until the tornado threat is no longer there. I know you might have to remove yourself from your television right now. You can download the 6ABC app. We'll be streaming there as well. And what you want to do is just put yourself in the safest location away from windows. Again, if you don't have a basement, you want to get into an interior room if you can and stay there until the tornado threat is no longer out there. So here you can see a few of those safety tips. If you have a second-story home, you want to be on the lowest level. So you want to be down to the first floor if you don't have that basement. If you do have a basement, that's the best place that you can be from. Most of the damage will likely occur from the top floor. That's not just the threat of tornadoes that could be going through, but also we're dealing with the potential of straight line wind damage, which can do just as much damage, 60 to even 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So here's a good explanation of where you can be. You can see the circle, the middle of this structure. You want to get into that interior hallway, even something like a pantry. You want to make sure that you're just getting low and covering your head. That's why I referenced that you can grab a helmet just in case anything serious were to happen. Now, thankfully, I can say there haven't been any reports coming through of anybody visually confirming a tornado. So we're going to continue to stay on the air until 11:45, or at least until the National Weather Service has said, hey, we're in the clear now.
Right, and that doesn't mean that we're in the clear just because we haven't had any reports of an actual twister or funnel being spotted.
Absolutely. I mean, today we've been talking about, we have the AccuWeather alert for a reason today, right? Now, we didn't anticipate there to be a high tornado threat. The tornado threat has been on the lower end of the spectrum for today, but we've always known that the threat for straight line wind damage was going to be elevated for a situation like today. So, you know, we're going to stay on the air with the tornado warning that's still out there, but also we want to make sure that people know that this is a serious situation. The kids are out for summer. People are trying to do things outside. Indoors is the safest place you can be.
And our area also hasn't been a stranger to these types of inclement weather, especially tornadoes. I mean, in the last couple of summers, we had a significant amount of twisters touching down.
Absolutely. I mean, going back to just April itself, we had a pretty decent severe weather outbreak here. And I want to bring your attention to our producer and meteorologist, Paul Trombello, who is navigating our graphics right now. And what he's showing us is the storm relative velocity. And the area that he's kind of breaking down for us, if you will, is where we are looking at least some rotation right now. This is in Chester County, where we're seeing the bright banding with our radar showing the rotation of the winds going toward and away from the radar. So we're looking at areas along Route 82 and also just to the east of Route 10. So this is in, I believe, Chester County that we're looking at. So the biggest community that I'm seeing in this area is Downingtown, so just west of Downingtown. And it looks like with that latest update, the rotation has now gone a bit farther north and east. So we've been talking about the trajectory of these storms, how they're moving northeasterly at about 35 miles per hour. And now we're seeing that right in the area of Wallace. So we're going to read some communities once again. The time right now is 11:31. You need to be in your safe location before the storm gets to your area. So 11:33 in Wallace, East Nantmeal at 11:40. The area of Nantmeal Village at 11:44, West Vincent at 11:48, 11:55 in Porter's Mill, and 11:59 in East Coventry. A lot of those places that I read off are some townships. So this is moving over some highly populated areas. You can see 76, 401. Also, as you continue to move your way through Chester County, right over 23, a very highly traveled road there. You need to know that this storm is headed your direction at this hour.
It's 11:32 right now, and if you were tuning in expecting to see the view, we have some serious weather. We're following this tornado warning in Chester County until 11:45, so we are going to stay on the air until that expires. Brittany, I was curious, we saw a couple other of those warnings drop. Is that a sign that the storms are weakening or just moving fast?
The storms are moving out of the area, so once the National Weather Service expires a warning like they did for Lancaster County, it means the tornado threat is no longer an issue. They might still hear some rumbles of thunder, but at this point there is no imminent situation for a tornado there. As this continues to move its way northeast, they are moving at a pretty good speed at about 35 miles per hour. So we just put another tracker on here, and this tracker is for I believe the severe thunderstorm warning, Paul. Okay, so we mentioned that the severe thunderstorm warning is also getting tags that a tornado is possible, but there is more of a concern for the straight line winds. You can see how the radar is almost in a way bowing. That's an indication of some really strong winds that are moving their way to the east. So reading off some towns here, 11:34 in Pike Creek, West Goshen, 11:37. Again, some of these are townships. Willistown at 11:46, Tredyffrin at 11:49, Lower Providence at 11:52, and Norristown at 11:59. So we're looking at not just Chester County here, but also into parts of, let's say, Montgomery County. And then pressing its way south, I can see Pike Creek there in Newcastle County, Delaware. So this is a pretty extensive line that is continuing to move its way to the east. Now, we did get another update from the National Weather Service, and I'm going to... Okay, so Paul, it looks like for that line, they've added a tornado warning to it. So that line that we were just tracking on the air for you, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning. So this includes very populated area, South Central Montgomery County, East Central Chester County, and Northern Delaware County, all of these in southeastern Pennsylvania. This tornado warning in this newest red polygon is until 12 o'clock. So we have two different tornado warnings right now. With this tornado warning, severe thunderstorms capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage were located over Westchester, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Now, some of the communities in this warning include Westchester, Westtown, Gradyville, Cheney, Broomall, Paoli. I do want to mention this is a big part of our viewing area. As I continue to read these towns, please get into your safe location, get away from windows. Again, there's the tornado threat, but also the straight line wind threat. Newtown Square, Bryn Mawr, Trout Lake, Radnor Township, King of Prussia, West Goshen, Lima, please excuse me if I mispronounced that one, Malvern, Devon and Berwyn, Upper Providence Township, Ardmore, and Chesterbrook. This includes the Pennsylvania Turnpike between mile markers 328 and 329, Interstate 76 between mile markers 327 and 330, so right over the expressway, and 476 between mile markers 7 and 15. So again, if you are just joining us here, we continue our coverage with a tornado warning that has been issued for parts of Montgomery County, Chester County, and Delaware County. This is until 12 o'clock, and this is a very populated area. You can see some of the towns here. The time now is 11:36. East Goshen, 11:40. The worst of this will be going over your area. 11:45 in Malvern, 11:45 in Malvern, 11:49 in Paoli, Tredyffrin, 11:52, 11:58 in Radnor, and 1204 in Norristown. And what you're seeing with this relative velocity is a product that we use to see oftentimes the tornado signature or a signature of where the strongest winds are in rotation with the atmosphere. But we're also able to look at the straight line wind threat, and you can just see kind of that wall of green moving its way to the east. That's with that squall line that's setting up from Chester County all the way down into parts of northern Delaware into Newcastle County.
Brittany, you talked about how obviously these are populated areas. We've addressed what people should do if they don't have a basement. What if you are in your car? Because you also mentioned that these are going over heavily traveled roads.
Yeah, you know, being in the car is the worst place that you can be. A lot of times people think, you know, you see it on TV, you want to get under an underpass.
Right.
It's actually more dangerous of a place to get. One, you can back up traffic. Two, a lot of times winds accelerate under underpasses. So really, best case scenario, what you could do is find the closest business, find the closest home. I mean, if you have to, knock on somebody's door, but you really want to be inside a structure. And we mentioned with the tornado warnings, you want to be away from windows, you want to be away from glass. If you're sitting in your vehicle and a tornado or any kind of strong wind comes through, you're most exposed in that location. So being in a vehicle, honestly, one of the worst places that you can be.
It's good to know.
All right, so if you are just joining us again here on 6 ABC, we are tracking Paul, if we can go back to the tornado warnings, just to kind of get a lay of the land of what's going on at this hour. We have two different tornado warnings, Berks County and Lancaster County, where they once were under a tornado warning. Those have been allowed to expire. So here's our first tornado warning that continues until 11:45. The time now is 11:38. That includes Chester County, so over 82, 76, Route 23. That cell that we were watching was moving northeast at about 35 miles per hour. And then we have our second warning that was issued by the National Weather Service just a couple of minutes ago at 11:32. That concludes South Central Montgomery County, East Central Chester County, and Northern Delaware County, and that tornado warning is until 12 o'clock. And we mentioned some of the population within this area, but also roads that are very well traveled here. You're looking at 202, 30, also 252. We mentioned 476 and also 76. You do not want to be inside your vehicle. You want to get into a sturdy building. So here we just populated a few more communities. The time now is 11:39. We're looking at the worst of this and potential tornado moving into Willistown at 11:43, Plumsock at 11:46, Marple at 11:52, Radnor 11:56, Haverford at 11:59, and Marion at 12:02. All right, so it looks like the latest update from the National Weather Service, they're expiring the tornado warning over Chester County. So we can see if that popped through in our system that just came out. All right, it looks like it hasn't come into our system just yet. So we're going to see if that's the northern tornado warning that we had.
Let that expire.
Okay, so yep, thank you, Paul. And if you hear me talking to anyone, Paul Trembello is our meteorologist and graphics producer running the graphics for me here. So that northern red polygon area, they will allow that to expire at 11:45. So that's a new update from the National Weather Service. So we're going to focus more so on this second polygon, this large tornado warning that is over parts of Chester County, also Montgomery County, and into Delaware County. At this point, there have been no storm reports that have come through yet, or no information that has been relayed to the National Weather Service from the general public. So you can see the radar is very active right now. If you're tuning in from Philadelphia, even Wilmington right now, these thunderstorms, while the worst of it is not here, it's kind of knocking at your doorstep at this hour. So if you know anybody, any kids that are outside, I know school's out for a lot of communities, you want to call them in and tell them to get inside because there's some really nasty weather on the way here. You can see that we've populated a few more communities in the path of this line, this dangerous line of thunderstorms. 11:45 in Wilmington, Delaware. So again, Newcastle County, you're also looking at the threat of the severe weather. Tredyffrin at 11:49, Upper Marion 11:55, Chester at 11:58, Upper Darby 12:03, and 12:07 in White Marsh.
Now, Brittany, when we're seeing those two colors side by side, walk me through what we're seeing with the green and the purple meeting. Is that where it's the strongest winds?
Typically, we want to look for where we're getting bright banding with the green and the red. So what Paul's actually doing right now is you can also use this velocity product to see when we have the threat of straight line wind. So with that green moving towards the radar, that's an indication not so much that we're seeing rotation in this particular area, but that strong wind threat. So that's when we're talking about winds 60 to 70 miles per hour, wow. Which, you know, people don't hear the word tornado associated with that, but when you have winds that strong, it essentially can do the same amount of damage. So that's what we're trying to use all the tools in our toolbox right now to tell people exactly what's going on at this hour. So with this bright green banding, with the winds pushing their way to the east, that is an indication that we're dealing with essentially a wall of wind right now moving its way through Chester County. And at this point, I'm not seeing any updates just yet from the National Weather Service. And here we go. We haven't looked a whole lot at this today. Now, with the severe weather threat, we have been most concerned about the damaging wind threat. That's why we issued the AccuWeather alert for today. It was kind of a 1, 2, 3 with the threats: damaging winds, hail, and then the tornado threat. And at this point, we can see that these thunderstorms, they're packing a punch. They're not just bringing the tornado threat, but they're also bringing hail, and it looks like we have had a good bit of hail moving through southern Lancaster County and then also into parts of Chester County. So we're looking at East Nottingham, also in and around the Coatesville area, and it looks like some of these storms are even producing hail as they move their way into parts of Delaware. Newark also looking at the potential of up to 1-inch hail with these storms. And I mentioned it earlier, you know, this is a situation where I've referred to things as a wall of wind and just heavy torrential downpours. Chances are, if you do have a tornado in this kind of situation, you're not going to see it, just with the intensity of the thunderstorms that are moving through the area. So we're going to look at some additional products here. This is the rainfall rates, and it really just puts into perspective, you're not just dealing with the wall of wind, you're dealing with some really gully washers here. Precipitation rates up to about 3 inches per hour as we have dew points today in the 60s. So there's a lot of moisture to work with in the atmosphere, and that is making for a very dangerous situation when you have the combination of blinding downpours and strong winds. We did get an update from the National Weather Service, and they continue the tornado warning until 12 o'clock noon for south central Montgomery County, east central Chester County, and northern Delaware County. They're also still referring to this squall line. That's what we've been trying to show you with the velocity product, the wall of wind. The squall line is capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage. With the latest update that just came in, the worst of this is over Gradyville or near Westchester. This continues to move east at 35 miles per hour. So some of the locations: Gradyville, Cheney, Broomall, Paoli, Newtown Square, Trout Lake, Radnor Township, King of Prussia, Bryn Mawr, Lima, West Goshen, Malvern, the area of Devon and Berwyn, Upper Providence Township, Chesterbrook, and also Ardmore. And this includes the Pennsylvania Turnpike near mile marker 328, Interstate 76 between mile markers 327 and 329, and then Interstate 476 in Pennsylvania between mile markers 7 and 14. So you want to make sure that you're taking cover now as this continues to move its way through parts of Chester, Montgomery, and Delaware counties. That is the latest update from the National Weather Service. They've also issued a severe thunderstorm warning into parts of Newcastle County, Delaware, and then also parts of New Jersey, Camden, Gloucester, Salem County, and Philadelphia, also looking at the threat of some severe weather. So if we can... Okay.
What are we looking at?
So we've got a little notch in the radar here where we are looking at the potential of that rotation that we've been looking at with a few different products. So what we could be seeing, not just the winds going toward and away from the radar, the area of Whitehorse could be dealing with that severe thunderstorm, again, capable of producing a tornado. So we cannot reiterate enough, you need to be in your safe location as this severe weather continues to move over parts of our region.
Brittany, it seems as quickly as it's moving in, it's also moving out.
Right, it's progressive. It's moving at 35 miles per hour. We're not seeing any particular cell sit over one area. It is moving, so that's why we keep trying to put these trackers on here so people can see where it's going. And here's our latest tracker. The time now is 11:47 Easttown. Hopefully by now you're in your basement or the most interior room of your property. 11:55 Radnor, 12:01 in Haverford, 12:06 in Marion, 12:07 in Upper Darby, and Glenside at 12:15. So those are some of the latest communities in that tornado warning or within that area where the severe thunderstorm is moving through. Now, most of our area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock this evening. So we're not just dealing with the thunderstorms now. We still have several hours to go, again, with the threat of severe weather, damaging winds being our greatest threat, hail, and then there is that isolated tornado threat. And at this point, I'm still in the National Weather Service chat room. I'm not seeing any kind of chatter of visual confirmation. So that's always a good thing.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that we're in the clear.
We're not in the clear yet, but it's at least a good thing that hopefully you hope in this situation as we're on the air and providing these updates that, you know, people aren't just staring outside their window right now. We do want you to be in your safe location. That's why we have the 6ABC app. If you have to step away from your computer, if you have to step away from your television, grab your smartphone, your tablet, and take it into the bathroom with you. Take it into that hallway closet. We're going to stay on the air until the tornado threat is no longer there. And at this point, the tornado warning is until 12 o'clock. So we'll be on the air with you here. Here's a few more safety tips where you want to stay from the second story of a home. That's where typically the most damage occurs. And when you're looking at 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, that's the least sturdy part of the structure. So we talk about getting down into the lowest level of your home. That includes the lowest floor, an interior hallway, or a bathroom. You can see even in this picture, there's a circle there. That could even be something like your pantry. You want to get low and cover your head until the threat is no longer there. So we're going to pull back out our watches and warnings, or at this point just our warnings, and everywhere that you're seeing in orange is where we do have severe thunderstorm warnings. It's that red polygon until 12 o'clock that includes Chester, Montgomery, and Delaware County, where the National Weather Service has issued that tornado warning.
We do have some live pictures, Brittany, that we want to show of just this storm moving in.
Oh, wow.
So that's 202 right there.
Yeah.
So we're looking at East Whiteland Township. This is near the Foundry Way exit, which, you know, that's right by that Vanguard campus.
Right.
This is a highly traveled area. Folks are still driving through this, but you can see, at least from this point of view, how heavy the rain is with this. And as you said, if there were a tornado, you wouldn't see it. It would be rain wrapped.
Absolutely. I mean, we can see the headlights of the cars, and you can kind of just see the shadows of the vehicles that are going down there. So that's why I say, you know, this particular area is under the severe thunderstorm warning, I believe, but off the roads is the best place you can be. We're looking at rainfall rates over 3 inches per hour. So I talk about those heavy downpours and then also the kind of wall of rain. And here you can see the ominous sky. I don't know if you guys have a location on this, but just
this is our Sky 6 camera.
Okay. This is over where?
Chester.
Over Chester. Okay. And Chester is one of the locations that were under the tornado warning. So Sky 6 alive right now, looking over Chester, and you can just see that nasty looking sky as thunderstorms continue to rock through our area. You can see the radar view to the left opposed to what's on the right, what's going to be coming through. So again, it is a wall of wind and also rain, and a lot of lightning being detected too, Paul. I don't know if we can maybe put a counter on the lightning strikes. We talk about when thunder roars go indoors. We just had a story on the air just yesterday, I think it was, in New Jersey, a man that was struck by lightning. Luckily, he was able to walk away from that situation alive, but every year there are fatalities from lightning, and you don't have to be within a thunderstorm for lightning to strike you. They can travel miles away, and in this particular box that we've highlighted, Paul, this is a 15 minutes. Over the last 15 minutes, there have been 116 lightning strikes in that red box that we've highlighted for you. So that's Montgomery County, Chester County, moving into Delaware County, also Newcastle County, Salem County, New Jersey. A tremendous amount of lightning is being associated with these thunderstorms, and they continue to move their way
Brittany,
to the east.
For context, though, when you say 116 lightning strikes within 15 minutes, is that normal? Is that above average? Is that below average for this type of inclement weather?
You know, there's not really a number to quantify what's average, but I will say it's 11:53 in the morning. A lot of times when we get thunderstorms like this, you're in the peak heating of the day, the middle of the afternoon or the evening. You know, it's typical to have that kind of activity later on in the day, but it's still early on in the day. So these storms are rocking and rolling pretty early on here. So the time now is 11:53. We've put on a couple more communities here.
And Brittany, I'm getting reports in West Whiteland Township that a tree came down. An officer just reached out to me, so that goes to show that these winds, they are strong enough to bring down trees. I'm asking for an actual location on that. But
okay, yeah, and you know, we've had reports this year of you know, I think it was back in our last outbreak, a tree hit a car that somebody was in and they died. So that's another reason why we mentioned how a vehicle is not a good place to be in, not just for the glass that could blow in, but also you don't know what could be falling around you. So there's the latest update with the communities in the path of this squall line that's moving east. 11:56 Radnor, 11:57 Chester, 12:03 Upper Darby, 12:10 East Greenwich, 12:13 Philadelphia, and 12:17 Camden. We just got an update from the National Weather Service about the tornado warning, and they might be expiring it. So they're going to allow it to expire at noon Eastern time. So we will likely stay on the air until noon just to make sure we're in the clear with that. And the storm that prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits, and there no longer appears to be a storm capable of producing a tornado. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, small hail and gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. So the tornado warning, again, that is over Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery counties, will be allowed to expire at the top of the hour. That's coming in from the National Weather Service, but there is still concern for severe thunderstorms today. Like I said, we're not in the clear just yet. We still have the threat of damaging winds and hail today, and that's why a lot of our viewing area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock this evening.
So Brittany, to be clear, does that mean this storm is weakening?
Yes,
okay.
The storm is weakening, and it's weakening so much so that the National Weather Service is allowing that tornado warning to expire at 12 o'clock. But here you can see a lot of yellow on the map. These are this is a severe thunderstorm watch, and this is until 6 o'clock. So although we might be stepping off of tornado coverage at 12 o'clock, the threat for severe weather is still on the table for today. Isolated tornado, but more concerned about the hail, torrential downpours, and then also the threat for those straight line winds, because even at this hour we continue to have that squall line that's pressing its way east. I mentioned Philadelphia. You've had some downpours and some thunderstorms. I mentioned a heads up not too long ago that this was knocking on your doorstep. The squall line is just west of Philadelphia, so it extends from Newcastle County on north into parts of Montgomery County. So Paul's putting another tracker on this. This is when the worst of it is going to be moving over your area. So you have 4 minutes, Chester. If it was a pool day for you, bring the kids inside. 12 o'clock is your time.
Yeah, Brittany, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but speaking of Chester, we're going to take this live look from our Sky 6 camera.
That changed quite a bit from the last time we looked at it.
I know, and that was a couple minutes ago. It wasn't even, yes. And so you can see in the distance, everything that you have been talking and warning our viewers about is, just like you said, knocking on the door of Chester City right now.
You know, and you asked, is it normal to have this much lightning? Keep in mind, it's 11:57 in the morning, and this is what it looks like right now in Chester. So that wall of wind and heavy downpours are moving your direction. Upper Darby, 12:04. White Marsh Township, 12:09. Philadelphia, 12:13. I know the pools just opened up. Hopefully everybody's getting out of the pools here. 12:18 in Camden, and then Pennsauken at 12:23. So the time now is 11:57. We've been on the air covering this severe weather, and we'll be staying on until the tornado officially expires, the tornado warning officially expires. And another product that we're looking at here is the hail tracks. We've been talking about damaging winds, but also a good indication that we've had some small hail across parts of Chester County, also Newcastle County. And it looks like the bulk of it has been in Chester County, even a few hail tracks into parts of Delaware County. But where you're seeing the brighter orange is where we've had some larger hailstones. All right, so there you can see the squall line that continues to move its way to the east. I see it extending from Middletown, Delaware, all the way up towards, let's see, Limerick, Upper Hanover. So point to point, Newcastle County, Delaware to northern Montgomery County. So even the northeast extension, you're going to be in the path of this as this line, even thunderstorms move their way into parts of Bucks County. So we can measure the line out here. That's I like that thought there, Paul. 64 miles is the path that we're looking at with this wall of thunderstorms, this line of thunderstorms that's moving east across our viewing area at 35 miles per hour. And Sky 6 Live over Chester, you can see it's really coming down right now.
The visibility is...
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Low visibility, and you know, once we kind of switch gears off of the tornado warning that has been ongoing, just know that there are severe thunderstorm warnings. There are still tags within those warnings that the National Weather Service is mentioning that there could be a tornado. So if that situation arises, we will be breaking back on into coverage for the threat of any tornadoes.
So 12 o'clock doesn't mean we're out of the woods. It just means that the tornado threat has died down.
Yes,
but we still have the strong winds, the heavy rain, the hail, the lightning. This is still a serious situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that particular cell that the Weather Service was watching. Chester, Montgomery, and Delaware County has now expired.
Okay, Brittany, thank you. It is 12 o'clock. You are watching Action News. We have been covering severe tornado warning, which has just now expired at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, we had several tornado warnings. That's why we've been on the air. That's why we had to interrupt the view, because this is a life-threatening situation. And that's what we do. We come on the air and we let people know where it's going and what's going to happen next. And right now, it looks like they're going to go ahead and expire those tornado warnings. If another one does crop up, we'll go right back to Brittany. But we will continue on now with Action News at noon, and we'll start out with you, Brittany.
Yeah, Brittany was.
All right, well, if anybody that's been tuning in for a while now, we continue to follow the very latest on the severe weather threat for today. We had a couple of tornado warnings earlier over Lancaster, Berks County, Chester, Montgomery, and also Delaware counties. Those have been allowed to expire, but we're not in the clear yet for severe weather. You can see that we are tracking a line of strong thunderstorms that continue to move through the heart of our viewing area. We're looking at a large area in particular. The line itself is about over 60 miles. and you can see the heavy rain, the lightning, but also the threat of damaging winds with these storms. So we're going to put a tracker on this to get the latest communities that are in the path of the severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service. And within this area, we are looking at the potential of winds up to 60 miles per hour and up to quarter-size hail, so about 1-inch diameter hail. 1205 Upper Darby, 1207 Marion, Philadelphia, 1214. We're looking at 1218 in Camden, 1221 in Cheltenham, and Cherry Hill 1226. So we haven't talked a whole lot about New Jersey just because these storms have been in southeastern Pennsylvania. They're moving your direction very soon. And we've talked a lot about the wind, but I also want to reiterate the fact that these storms have a lot of moisture to work with. So what you're looking at right now are the rainfall rates within these storms. And this would be if any storm were to stand over one area for a period of time, they would produce rainfall of close to 3 inches in that hour. So we're talking low visibility with these thunderstorms. We're talking damaging winds. And here you can see where we're highlighting that green area. That is the wall of wind, the squall line that's moving its way east. And this is going to be moving its way over Philadelphia. So we're going to continue to track the latest on the severe weather through today as these strong thunderstorms move through the area. And I just want to kind of end on this note here, guys. Severe thunderstorm watch continues for all of the counties in yellow. This is until 6 o'clock tonight, so make sure you're staying weather aware. And of course, we'll have the latest here on 6ABC on air, online, and our 6ABC app. I'll send it back to you.
You're still not in the clear just yet, but you have been keeping us abreast with everything. Thank you. And you can download the 6ABC app to track this afternoon's storms and get the latest advisories and warnings. You'll also find the latest forecast from our team of meteorologists and Storm Tracker 6 live radar. And this is a live look at I-95 at mile marker 3, Highland Avenue in Aston, Delaware County. It's low visibility, as you can see, with the rain pouring, creating miserable conditions for those behind the wheel. Meteorologist Brittany Boyer continues to track the severe weather when Action News continues.
All right, we're back here keeping an eye on the storms that are rolling across the area. The screen didn't just go black. That's what it looked like outside. So now we're looking at the airport. We just switched over. We were looking at the Ben Franklin Bridge. There it is. We're going kind of back and forth. But hey, this gives you a good idea of these storms as they are rolling through. We know there are delays now at the airport. Doesn't look like anyone is moving. A lot of the planes just sitting there waiting for this storm to pass. It is wet out there. They've gotten a lot of rain. We've watched those strong winds. And if we could switch one more time back over to the Ben Franklin Bridge, it's such an interesting shot to see how dark it is out there. These are the storms that already rolled across several counties. This long line. Look at that. Ooh. It's just amazing shot there. This is the middle of the day. It is 12:13 in the afternoon, and you can't see out there. Remember, we also got those workers over on I-95 trying to repair, build the gap. The new lanes they're trying to put in on I-95, they're dealing with this as well. We'll show you that a little bit later today. But yeah, these storms rolling through the area causing conditions like this.
Okay, thanks for staying with us. Sky 6 taking a live look at 2 locations. One on the left is Center City from our Temple University camera. On the right, the Ben Franklin Bridge, which we showed you a little bit earlier in our newscast. Both, you can see the sky is incredibly dark, ominous. All of that severe weather that meteorologist Brittany Boyer has been tracking for the last hour, this is what is now rolling into our area. Brittany, what can we expect at this moment?
Yeah, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings for that line, that squall line of thunderstorms that continues to move east at about 35 miles per hour. It is until 12:45. We're looking at up to marble-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and there is a tornado threat, but there is currently no tornado warning. So here is the line that we're looking at. It extends from Delaware and Kent County all the way north and east into parts of Montgomery, also Philadelphia and Camden counties. A tremendous amount of lightning is being detected. This is within the last 15 minutes. We've had over 200 lightning strikes with this squall line. And not only do we have the threat of damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, which could bring tree damage, power lines down, the National Weather Service is also using the wordage that there could be minor vehicle damage damage as these storms continue to move east at 35 miles per hour. So right over Philadelphia, I think not too long ago they mentioned that the airport has taken a pause here as some of these thunderstorms move through with the heavy downpours. So this is right over Philadelphia right now, Upper Darby moving east right along I-95 here. So be prepared for some delays if you are traveling as these storms move their way east. Here's a tracker that we put on it. We mentioned Philadelphia at 12:18, the worst of it, moving through right about now. 12:27 in Gloucester, Cherry Hill 12:29, Voorhees we're looking at 12:35, Evesham Township 12:40, and Willingboro at 12:44 as this dangerous line of thunderstorms continues to move its way to the east. And if we look at the big picture right now, here's your severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock. Look what's behind it. Not a whole lot. We'll have little pieces of energy rotating behind this main line of thunderstorms. So here is our severe thunderstorm watch. Again, it is until 6 o'clock. And this will move its way all the way toward the coast. Where the rain and the thunderstorms have been, look at the temperatures, only in the 50s and 60s to the west. Meantime, as you work your way toward the shore, we've got temperatures in the 70s, but those thunderstorms will be heading their way all the way toward the shore. Also a spike up in dew points. Look at the juice in the atmosphere here. A dew point of 75 in Dover. A lot of moisture to work with these storms, and that's why we're seeing the low visibility and those heavy downpours with a lot of moisture in the air. Now, with the timing, by about 2:30, again, these storms are moving east at about 35 miles per hour. So we're thinking this exits the coast by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we just have little pieces of energy rotating behind that line. So I know a lot of people have been saying, how's it looking for the Billy Joel concert? Well, if you're doing any pre-gaming before the concert, we could still have a pop-up cell around 4 o'clock, but the chances of precipitation drop off later this evening by 10 o'clock, 66 and partly cloudy. Starting your weekend, much quieter, few pop-up cells, but for the most part, the weather's not looking nearly as active as today. Your exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Our AccuWeather alert continues for gusty thunderstorms, heavy downpours, hail, and damaging winds. Then as we head into the weekend, a pop-up cell can't be ruled out. 79 on Saturday. We're warming up for Father's Day with sunshine and temperatures in the low 80s. And then heading into next week, looks like we'll have a play of clouds and sun. Temperatures in the 80s, cooling off a little bit by the middle and end of the week.
Yeah, after this inclement weather, we deserve it.
Yeah, it's been a bumpy day so far.
We're ready for some calm.
Yes, we
Brittany,
are.
thank you. All right, let's take a live look outside. So we've got a couple of shots that we want to show you. This is Mobile 6 right by Belmont Avenue on the Schuylkill right now. And you can see the traffic is heavy. We've got the rain still falling in this area. And we do know sometimes when we get a lot of rain, we can see some ponding on the roads out there. Look at the right. This is what the airport looks like at this hour. We've been showing you this shot here repeatedly. It seems like maybe it's gotten darker. Planes are not taking off at this point. We've seen a lot of lightning. We see some of them taxiing out there. We know there are some delays, so just a heads up, if you might have a flight, it could be delayed for just a bit. We'll be right back.
It is 12:30 and we begin with the latest on our AccuWeather alert that we have been on air since just after 11 a.m. as tornado warnings popped up all across our region.
Those warnings in Berks, they were Chester, Delaware, Montgomery counties, but they've all since expired. The storms that have been moving through, they're strong. They've got heavy rain, lots of lightning associated with them as well. Sky 6, look at this,
Whoa.
Citizens Bank Park. Wow, it is just dark. You see that flash there in the background. This is where Billy Joel would be playing a little bit later. It's going to be better weather when that happens. Really hard to see out there, and this is kind of what it is throughout the Philadelphia area right now.
And from the city to the shore, take a look at this from our attheshore.com Sky 6 camera in Ocean City. This is a time lapse that shows how the storm rolled in this morning. The boardwalk obviously was packed with people, and then in just a matter of minutes cleared out because of that inclement weather rolling in. Meteorologist Brittany Boyer in the Action News Weather Center tracking the very latest.
And that was just a pop-up cell for the shore. We still have this main line of thunderstorms that'll be moving its way toward the coast. We have a couple of different severe thunderstorm warnings. This one including Philadelphia, also some of the northwest suburbs until 12:45. It's moving at about 45 miles per hour and it poses the threat of winds up to 60 miles per hour. There is a tornado possible, but we're more concerned about the wind and also the heavy downpours. Going a little bit farther south with our tornado, with our severe thunderstorm warnings here, you can see this takes us into New Jersey. This is moving a little bit slower. It's moving east at about 25 miles per hour, posing the risk of up to penny-sized hail, but also those 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This is east of Wilmington. So again, those at the shore, you're not exactly in the clear just yet. So this is what we're working with. We have thunderstorms extending from Kent County, Delaware, all the way up into Montgomery, Bucks County, and also toward Mercer County. So a pretty long line of thunderstorms that are moving their way to the east. And you can see places like Millville, also Winslow Township, Pemberton. These thunderstorms that are moving through Philadelphia now are going to be pressing their way into your area. These storms have also produced some hail. We've had hail reports up to about 3/4 of an inch to an inch in diameter. And you can see a couple of them here in South Jersey. We're looking at under large size hail, but there is at least some small hail with some of those thunderstorms. And then the rainfall rates, this is why visibility is so low. We're talking about rainfall intensity 2.5 to over 3 inches per hour. So heavy downpours. Thankfully, the situation is fluid. The thunderstorms are moving their way toward the coast, and you can see behind it, we have some clearing. So we'll talk about the clearing, what it means for the concert tonight, and of course, Father's Day weekend. That forecast and much more coming up in just a little bit, guys.
Okay, Brittany, keeping your eye to the sky. Thank you. And let's take a live look at Mobile 6, which is on the Schuylkill heading westbound. You can see the rain still coming down, not as heavy, but still happening. And we know that when we do drive on the Schuylkill, there tends to be some types of ponding when there is torrential downpour. So definitely something that drivers need to be aware of as they continue to be out and the storm continues to roll through. And anytime a storm hits, the newly updated 6ABC app is the only thing that you need to give you the latest information. It gives you access to Storm Tracker 6 live radar and the exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast to be able to plan ahead.
Time now for another check of that forecast and the AccuWeather alert. Meteorologist Brittany Boyer is in the Action News Weather Center. She has been busy today with all these storms.
It's definitely been a very active day, and we're continuing to look at the storm reports that are coming in to the National Weather Service. And one of the most recent reports, Perkiomenville in Montgomery County, there is a report of a lightning strike that struck a home and caused it to catch on fire. We haven't heard of any injuries, but that's one of the reports from the storms that we're dealing with. Lower Alloways Creek in Salem County, winds gusting to 58 miles per hour. Dover Air Force Base, a gust of 46 miles per hour. A report coming in around the Delaware Memorial Bridge on the Delaware side, 1 inch hail, and near Valley Forge, a 1 inch hail report. So these storms are packing a punch, and we continue to track them. The worst of the weather now east of Philadelphia, east of Wilmington, out of the north and west suburbs. And you can see a lot of New Jersey currently on this severe thunderstorm warning. It goes until 1:30, and these cells are moving east at about 45 miles per hour, still bringing us the threat of 1 inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So as we look at the current view right now with our radar, you can see again, if you're to the west, you're in the clear from the severe weather right now. We continue to watch this line of thunderstorms with a lot of lightning associated with it. I mentioned how it's moving east at about 45 miles per hour. So some communities, 1255 Hamilton, 1257 Barnard, 105 in Browns Mills, 110 Country Lake Estates, and Woodland at 113. On the southern end of the line, you can see some of the communities, 1250 in Millville, Buena Vista, 1257, and Mays Landing by 115. So this will be working its way toward our shore communities. On the backside, you can see that we have that clearing, a little bit of energy still to our north and west, and that'll be swinging in later this evening. So the worst of the weather going toward the shore by about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we just have a few leftover cells by this evening, but that will not be a severe weather risk. Temperatures are cooling down pretty significantly as these storms continue to move their way to the east. We're still in the 70s at Mullica Hill, and temperatures for some mid to upper 70s as you move toward the shore. Looking at the forecast for tomorrow, you can see it's looking a little bit brighter than today. A mix of clouds and sunshine. There could be a pop-up shower or storm, but for the most part, a much more pleasant day for those that might be out and about on Saturday. If you're shorebound this weekend, just a pop-up cell or two on Saturday. Sunday's looking good for the dads at the shore. Your exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Our AccuWeather alert continues this afternoon for heavy downpours, damaging winds, and hail with these thunderstorms. Just a pop-up cell on Saturday. Overall, it's a nice weekend. Warm for dad on Father's Day, 84 degrees. And then things are looking pretty nice and quiet for the start of next week.
That's what we like to hear.
Ready for that.
Well, thankfully by 4:30, a lot of this is going to be out of here. There will just be some leftover pop-up cells, but I do want to mention that the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning. This does include areas such as Philadelphia toward Bensalem. In this area, we've had about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain that has already fallen. So always remember, turn around, don't drown. If you see a road that's covered in water, stay off of it. We're not done with the thunderstorms just yet. For an area like Kennett Square, the worst of the weather's out of there, but those storms racing their way toward the Jersey Shore at this hour.
Okay, good to know, Brittany. Thank you.
We just got a tornado warning?
We just got a tornado warning?
Okay. All right. Yeah, we did just get a tornado warning, so Brittany will have to be taking back over here. We've had tornado warnings all morning long, and when there is one, we stay on the air. Brittany, where is
what
this?
Can you tell us?
I'm just getting the information as you are too. So if we can on side right pop up, or there we go, we can pop up the tornado warning that's out there right now. This is in the red polygon. It looks like it's in portions of Burlington County and also, let me see here, and Ocean County. So I'm going to click on the warning. This just came out from this. This is for northwestern Ocean County and southern New Jersey and northeastern Burlington County until 1:30 this afternoon. This was issued at 12:55. So again, it just came out. Severe thunderstorms capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage were located over Pemberton or 20 miles south of Trenton, moving east at 40 miles per hour. And we're trying to just kind of navigate the radar right here where this particular areas and where Paul is highlighting. We do have a little bit of notching, so there possibly could be some rotation, and that's why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and populated this. Presidential Lakes Estates, there we go. We're looking at the storm relative velocity to look at that rotation a little bit more. Lakehurst, Pemberton, Wrightstown, Presidential Lakes, Cedar Glen Lakes, Pine Bridge at Crestwood, Browns Mills, Holiday City, Berkeley, Country Lakes Estates, Crestwood Village, Pemberton Heights, Fort Dix, McGuire Air Force Base, and New Egypt. So right now we're looking at a pretty good signature here on storm relative velocity. That bright banding showing that we do have what looks to be some rotation as this cell moves its way to the east. So some of the communities, I read off some that were just in the National Weather Service bulletin that came out. New Lisbon until 1 o'clock, Browns Mills until 1:04, 1:08 in Hanover Furnace, 1:22 in Woodare Estates, Lakehurst at 1:25, and Jackson at 1:28. So what you're looking at is kind of the debris signature that we look at with those winds going toward and away from the radar. And I have to say this is probably one of the more significant signatures that we've seen so far today with the severe weather that we're tracking here. So rightfully so, the National Weather Service going ahead to issue that tornado warning. Again, that is in Burlington and Ocean counties until 1:30 this afternoon. So I'm going to step away and look at the report that came in from the National Weather Service, just making sure that nothing additional is coming through. And they are talking about a very tight couplet that is pushing through Burlington County. So that's what we were just showing you with the relative velocity there. So if you are tuning in right now, northwestern Ocean County and Burlington County, you need to be in your safe location, as this is a dangerous and potentially life-threatening situation with this tornado warning, again, over New Jersey. So this is until 1:30 as this cell moves its way to the east. So you can see some of the roads in the path. 206 again, right around Pemberton, and then also Route 70 here as you work your way a bit farther east out of the Pemberton area. So we're going to be staying on the air until 1:30, tracking this severe weather threat, this tornado warning, or at least until the National Weather Service allows this warning to expire. It's been a very active day across our viewing area. We've already had multiple reports of hail, damaging winds. We had one report of a lightning strike that caused a house to catch on fire, and we are once again covering the threat of a tornado in our viewing area. So earlier today it was over Pennsylvania, the tornado threat. Now we're watching it as it moves its way throughout portions of New Jersey, Ocean County, and also Burlington County. So we're on the air now, 108 Hanover Furnace. You want to make sure that you're in your safe location. That's when the worst of this will be moving through your community. 117 in Collier's Mills, Wooddare Estates at 122, Jackson Township at 127, and 130 in Pine Lake Park. So we are watching this situation as it unfolds. It has been a very active day across our viewing area, and we've been talking a lot about the thunderstorms that are moving through, not just the fact that we have the tornado potential, but when we show you these reflectivities, when the radar is bright red like this, these are torrential downpours. So if a tornado is in fact happening right now, you're not going to see it. It's going to be rain wrapped. And look at the rainfall rates here. Just what I was mentioning, rainfall rates over 2 inches per hour. So these are torrential downpours that are moving through, also with some very strong winds. Most of the thunderstorms that have been moving through have posed the risk of winds up to 60 miles per hour. So you have the wall of wind and then also the torrential downpours. You get the spin in the atmosphere. It's a combination you don't want to have because you can't see anything. So we're on the air looking at all of the different products that we have here. The storm relative velocity, we use this product from time to time to look at the straight line wind potential, but also the rotation potential, where you have the green, the winds moving toward the radar, and then the red moving away. And where you get those colors notching together very tightly, that's oftentimes where you get some rotation, and that's what we're seeing right now. Initially, when this warning was issued, it was right over Pemberton. You can now see where we're getting that brighter banding here. It's now east of Pemberton, east of 206. So we're kind of looking right in between the area of Presidential Lakes Estates and Brown Mills. So here's this is Route 70. It's just to the north of that where we are looking at some rotation on radar right now. So I'm just kind of stepping back to see things a little bit more. What Paul is doing, our graphics producer and meteorologist Paul, he's zooming in so we can see a few more communities. I'll read off some of the roads. If I mention your road, you need to be in your safe location. Cookstown Browns Mill Road, Pemberton Browns Mill Road. We have 4 Mile Road here south of New Lisbon. And then here you have Country Lakes Estates. You have Lakehurst Road that runs right in between. You want to be in your safe location, as again, this particular cell that we're watching here, this appears to be the strongest severe thunderstorm warning that we've seen today, showing an indication of rotation in the atmosphere. So right over Country Lakes Estates, we are looking at that. So we're going to put a tracker on this once again and look at the direction that this storm is moving. So 107 in Hanover Furnace, the time right now is 104. Manchester at 122, 125 in Lakehurst, 129 in Pine Lake Park, and Rivercrest Manor at 133. So a couple of other roads as we get a little bit closer. Here's the Garden State Parkway, this red line right in here. So you can see that runs through this. Also Route 9. This is where this thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado is going to be moving to the east. So that's the storm relative velocity, and here are a couple of tornado safety tips. I know I probably sound like a broken record sometimes, but we can't say this enough. You want to make sure that you are in your safe location. The basement is the best place that you can be. Where you don't want to be, the second story of a home, that's where most of the damage typically occurs. on the top floor. So if you can, get into a basement. If you don't have a basement, you want to get into the lowest level or the most interior room of the structure that you're in. So that could be something like a bathroom. You could crouch down in the bathtub and you can have your 6ABC app. You can have your tablet there. We're streaming on all of our platforms. You want to stay away from things like windows, any kind of glass that can blow and break and bring debris inside of your property. So get low and cover your head and stay there until the tornado threat is no longer in place. And this tornado warning again is until 1:30 this afternoon. This was issued by the National Weather Service just within the last 10 minutes or so. And you can see with this particular cell, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, this is moving northeast still? Okay, so this is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So Country Lakes Estates, we mentioned you. Manchester, we've mentioned you. And then we have 70 that runs right in between here. So maybe we can look at a few more towns that are in there, whether we zoom in a little bit or maybe if we put another tracker on it, just to give people some perspective. And here you can see the roads that run through this area. So we have Cookstown, Browns Mill Road, we have Lakehurst Road, Pemberton, Browns Mill Road, 4 Mile Road, and 70 looks to be the main road that I see within this tornado warning. So here you can see how the radar looks, the more typical view that you're used to seeing us show you on the air. Red is where we have the most intense area of the storm with the heaviest rainfall, and also within there we do have that cell that is capable of producing a tornado. So as we look at the relative velocity now, not seeing, so north, I would think north of Browns Mills.
Yeah, they're saying near Browns Mills there's some really bad straight line in that.
Okay, so if you hear me talking to what looks like nobody's over there, our producer and meteorologist Paul is passing along information from the National Weather Service. He's saying that there have been reports of some straight line wind damage in this area, in the area of Browns Mills. So we're looking at right in here where you can see the radars starting to populate some green and some purple, an indication that we do have those strong winds that are moving their way to the east. So we are looking at winds potentially around 60 miles per hour, those straight line winds, but we still have that tornado warning that is ongoing for this area until 1:30. Not seeing a whole lot of hail reports with this cell, so at this point there's more of the concern for the tornado threat, the wind threat, but also the fact that we have heavy downpours right now with rainfall rates in excess of 2 to nearly 3 inches per hour. So this is a developing situation that continues this afternoon. If you're just joining us here on 6ABC, we went from our 12 o'clock news coverage right into a tornado warning that was issued by the National Weather Service. So we're looking at Burlington County and also into Ocean County here. So I've been mentioning how these storms were going to move their way toward the coast, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Putting a tracker on lightning strikes right now in this box that Paul has populated, we've had about 60 lightning strikes so far. And although lightning doesn't really go with the entire tornado threat, the lightning itself can be deadly, and we've already had at least one report of a house that was struck by lightning and caused a fire in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. So here's a tracker on the latest with the tornado threat moving through Burlington and Ocean County. We have populated the communities right over here. I'll read a few of them off. The time right now is 11:10. This is when they'll be moving into your area. 122 in Manchester, 125 in Lakehurst, 129 in Pine Lake Park, Toms River, big area, 133, and Leisure Village at 136. So a lot to unfold here as these storms continue to move their way over what appears to be Route 70 here from Presidential Lakes Estates on eastward. So eventually we'll be looking at this in the area of Roosevelt City, also here toward Manchester, Legler. Some of these communities that pop up are townships. They'll be moving your direction here within the next now until 15 or so minutes. And Paul, maybe if we can pull up the warning itself just to kind of show people where this is, opposed to maybe make it a little bit wider. Excuse me. All right, so this just kind of gives you your bearings. Philadelphia, Bensalem to the west. The tornado threat is over New Jersey. So where we have the orange polygons, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. And then in red, that is the tornado warning that continues until 1:30 this afternoon. This is radar indicated. So when we get radar indicated from the National Weather Service, that means a tornado has not been observed, but the ingredients are there in the atmosphere today. Just a little bit of spin that a tornado can come down. So we're watching areas like New Hanover. I've been mentioning Country Lake Estates, also around Manchester, as this cell continues to move its way to the east or northeast at about 45 miles per hour. All right, and right now we're trying to zoom into an area just south of Plumstead, where we might have a little bit of notching with the winds right now. So we're going to be watching again Crestwood Village to Plumstead, splitting the difference right in between there as these storms move their way to the east. So we're going to keep populating different communities. Every time you hear me say a certain town, please make sure you are in your safe location. 125 Lakehurst, 130 Pine Lake Park, Banbury Estates at 133, Leisure Village 136, and 139 in Lake Riviera. Paul, has there been any update from the Weather Service yet?
Just that we're moving east at 45 miles an hour now.
Okay, so no updates in terms of expiring this tornado warning. It continues, and the severe thunderstorm with the risk of the tornado continues to move to the east at about 45 miles per hour. That tornado warning again continues until 1:30 this afternoon, and it includes Burlington County, but we're now starting to see some of this moving its way into parts of western Ocean County. So here you can see some of that brighter banding just to the east of New Hanover. I think that would probably be a little bit more in the way of straight line wind damage. Paul, what do you think? Yeah, we're looking at more so straight line wind damage in this area, not so much seeing any kind of tornadic debris or tornadic signature here. This more so looks like the wall of wind that I've been referring to this afternoon. So this more likely is going to be a squall line in a way, bowing and pushing those up to 60+ mile per hour winds to the east here. So that's what we're primarily looking at right now. Midwood 118, 119 and Woodare Estates, Jackson, I believe that's Jackson Township, 124, Lakewood at 133, Leisure Village at 136, and then in Brick at 141. So this tornado warning continues here. Again, we're watching this more so now starting to move its way into parts of Ocean County. So we'll wait and see if we get any update from the Weather Service on this maybe expiring in Burlington County as the worst of the storm continues to move its way to the east. And you can see this line, this squall line, this is what moved through Philadelphia. This is what moved through the north and west suburbs. It maintains its intensity, and it's almost getting even larger. At one point it was 60 miles long. As we track this from South Jersey on north through Ocean County, we're looking at a line that encompasses about 85 miles. And within that line, you can see there is a lot of lightning with this. So There are a lot of different elements to this: the tornado threat, the damaging wind threat, the lightning threat, the intensity of the rainfall that continues as we track these storms toward the Jersey Shore. So 1:18, you have 3 minutes, Corbin City, until the worst of this is in your community. Galloway at 11:23, Egg Harbor 1:25, 1:33 in Little Egg Harbor, Ventnor City at 1:38. And then Atlantic City by 1:41. So this is a dangerous situation as we continue to track these severe thunderstorms and also that tornado warning that continues to move its way throughout portions of Burlington and Ocean counties. So we're once again kind of getting our bearings here just to show you where exactly the warnings are. The orange polygons being where our severe thunderstorm warnings are, where we could have winds gusting around 60 miles per hour. And then it's this red area, that's the tornado warning itself that continues until 1:30 with the risk of a tornado, but also heavy downpours and up to quarter-size hail. So we continue to watch this as it moves its way to the north and east at 45 miles per hour this afternoon. And if you are just joining us now, we are staying on the air here at 6 ABC to track the very latest with these thunderstorms as they move through New Jersey.
My mic. I know that you've been following this off and on. I mean, we've had tornado warnings off and on since just after 11 o'clock this morning. As you mentioned, it was over Pennsylvania, and then it was called off just before we went on the 12 o'clock news. And then right after the 12 o'clock news pops back on at 1 o'clock. I mean, one, is that common to have these types of cells pop up and then die down and pop up again? And two, I mean, the severity of this one looks even stronger than what we were seeing earlier in the morning.
Right, and that is the case sometimes. You can have a line of thunderstorms where you get little impulses within it that have the risk of a tornado. You lose the risk, and then things redevelop a little bit more. We knew today that the greatest severe weather threat was from Philadelphia on south into South Jersey. So it is to no surprise that we're seeing severe weather in this area. There just was not a high risk for tornadoes today. It's been an isolated threat, and even at this point, there have not been any confirmations of any tornadoes. But the threat has always been on the table for today. So we knew that there was going to be the potential of damaging wind gusts across South Jersey, parts of Delaware, the I-95 corridor, and that's exactly what's happening right now. You can see some of the newer communities that we just popped up for you here. The time right now is 1:18. Legler 1:24. This will be moving over you. Whitesville 1:29. 1:34 in Lakewood. Lake Riviera at 1:38. Brick at 1:41 and 1:45 Point Pleasant. And hopefully those that are at the shore right now, you had some thunderstorms earlier today. Things cleared out a little bit. Now is the time that you want to be making your way indoors as these thunderstorms are quickly moving to the east at about 45 miles per hour. We're starting to see the intensity of the rainfall go up a little bit here. Where we have the brighter whites in the precipitation, that's where we're seeing rainfall rates of over 3 inches per hour. So we're talking ponding on roadways, low visibility. What could be occurring with this severe thunderstorm that's capable of producing a tornado, unfortunately, would not be able to be seen. You wouldn't be able to see what's coming toward you. And we don't want anybody out there going to look out their window right now. If you're under that tornado warning, which maybe we should populate that again, Paul, you need to be in your safe location here as this cell continues to move its way to the east. So initially the tornado warning was over Pemberton. You can see now there's just a severe thunderstorm warning as the worst of it is moving to the east.
So we just got a report that people saw funnel clouds in Pemberton.
Okay. Okay, so Paul's telling me that we just got a report that people could see a funnel cloud in Pemberton. So we're starting to get some of the visual confirmation from people that were within this severe thunderstorm that prompted the tornado warning. So that's one of the reports. I'm being told that we have a Sky 6 camera toward toward Ocean City, so we can kind of look at what's going on right now. A little bit more in the way of people that I'd like to see on the boardwalk right now. At this point, we don't have any tornado warnings for Ocean City, but these thunderstorms will be quickly approaching your area as they're currently just off to your west right now. So switching back over to our weather graphics here, we're looking at the area in which,
Straight line wind damage.
okay, anywhere in particular that it's been reported?
We're saying near Lakehurst right now.
Okay, so near Lakehurst, we're getting some reports of straight line wind damage. And I think I've said it a couple of times today that a lot of times with straight line wind damage, you can have the same amount of damage that a tornado can produce. You're just not seeing the debris going every which way direction. A lot of times you just see trees and debris all going in one direction as straight line winds move through the area. So where we have this red, this bright red that's pushing its way to the east, those are those straight line winds that eventually will be making their way toward places like Ocean City. So here we are. The time now is 1:21 in the afternoon. Lacey, this will be moving over you at 1:24. 1:28 in Holiday Heights, Toms River at 1:34, Pine Beach 1:37, Ocean Gate at 1:41, and Seaside Heights at 1:47. So those at Seaside Heights at the shore, you have about a 20+ minute window to get inside and get away from these thunderstorms.
Brittany, I know earlier you had also mentioned about it might be difficult to see a funnel cloud just because of the rain.
Right. You know, things happen. People can see things. You know, those that are in a tornado warning, outside is the worst place you can be. We've been mentioning being by windows, how that's not a good spot to be. But when we do get reports of things like a funnel cloud, you know, it does reiterate the fact that this warning is out there for a reason. So this tornado warning is continuing until 1:30 as the tornado threat is still on the table here as we watch this thunderstorm move its way from Burlington County, now mostly into Ocean County, going over the Garden State Parkway here probably within the next couple of minutes. So we're talking low visibility and just really difficult conditions for anybody that might be stuck on the roads. If you are within the tornado warning, pull over to a gas station, a convenience store, and seek shelter indoors. This is moving to the east at about still 45 miles per hour, Paul? 45 miles per hour, moving to the east, eventually getting to Long Beach Island here in the shore communities. 1:22 in Lacey, Waretown at 1:31, 1:33 in Leisure Village, Brick at 1:38, and the last community on the list at 1:43. So there you can see the funnel cloud that was spotted from somebody in the public. Are we able to, there we go, we can query that. So this is in Pemberton. Pemberton Township officials relayed several reports of a sighted funnel cloud in the vicinity of Country Lakes, and the estimated time was at 1:03. So we found out about this tornado warning at about 12:57. So that's at least visual confirmation of that funnel cloud there shortly after the time that the tornado warning was issued. We're also getting more wind reports. This was in Fort Dix, a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust. So that just goes to show why we keep talking about this wall of wind, the straight line wind damage that is associated with this line of thunderstorms that is racing its way to the east at this hour. So those are just a couple of the severe weather reports that we're seeing so far. If you're tuning in right now, you can see that the severe weather threat for places like Middletown, Wilmington, Philadelphia, Lancaster, areas to the west, the severe weather threat has ended for you with this line of thunderstorms. Where it's not over yet, from Cape May on north here as you work your way through Ocean County, Mullica, also toward Waretown. You can already see some lightning strikes popping up on Long Beach Island around Surf City. This line is moving your direction. So the time now is 1:25. The tornado warning continues until 1:30 unless it gets extended. 1:33 Summers Point, Pleasantville 135, 144 Atlantic City, Brigantine 147, and Holgate at 151. I mean, you have enough time to seek shelter at this point for these damaging thunderstorms that are moving your direction. Any updates, Paul, from the National Weather Service?
I think we're going to try and show a Sky 6 here.
Okay. So we're going to keep this up and we're going to see if we can maybe show any of our cameras close to the shore, any of the Sky 6 cameras that might be in the vicinity of where these thunderstorms are moving. We're going to try and get you some live images here in just a couple of moments.
We're going to allow the tornado warning to expire at 1:30.
1:30. Okay, so the National Weather Service has told us that they'll allow the tornado warning to expire at 1:30. So we'll be staying on the air until that happens. In the meantime, we'll take...
Brittany, I mean, I'm here with you. This is Christy. And you can see this is a live Sky 6 picture again from Ocean City from our attheshore.com camera. We actually were showing viewers this shot during our 12 o'clock newscast because we had a pretty cool time-lapse video of just when a pop-up cell kind of rolled into this Jersey Shore town, how the Boardwalk at the time earlier this morning was packed with people taking advantage of the beach, and then that pop-up cell moved in. The boardwalk kind of cleared out, and now you can see, as Brittany was saying, a little bit too many people on the boardwalk that she would want to see at this time, given that these storms are now heading in that direction. But clearly a lot of people on the boardwalk. Hopefully they will be able to clear out as this storm comes in. But Brittany, again, okay, we're gonna get another camera showing, but I mean, here we go. This is Atlantic City, so you can see not as many people there as we were seeing in Ocean City, something that you would like to not see as well as the storm continues to move in. But I mean, these winds have pretty much ramped up from earlier this morning. I mean, when we were talking around 11, right after that tornado warning was issued, it was somewhere around like 30 miles per hour, right? And now it's 45.
Yeah, so that was the speed of the motion of the thunderstorms, right, how they were moving to the east. So we've been watching these ones move a little bit quicker. They're moving east at about 45 miles per hour. So places like Atlantic City, you can see a lot of people have cleared the boardwalk at this point. Chances are, if you're at the shore, you're hearing the thunder right now. And we always say thunder roars, go indoors. If you can hear thunder, lightning is close enough that it can strike you. And as we know, lightning can be deadly. So we're looking at a couple of communities here. The time now is 1:28. We'll be staying on the air until the warning officially expires. 1:30 in Upper Township, Summers Point at 1:36. These are all shore communities. 1:40 in Ocean City, 1:44 in Ventnor City, and then Atlantic City at 1:48. Even once the tornado warning is allowed to expire, you can clearly see we continue to have the damaging wind threat with this squall line. A significant amount of lightning continues to move. Paul, maybe we can track the lightning from south of Cape May up towards north of Toms River. I mean, just a tremendous amount of lightning with this line of thunderstorms. This is just within the last 15 minutes. There have been 254 lightning strikes with this squall line. So again, even once we get off the air with a tornado warning, you still have the risk for lightning, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, hail, and also those heavy downpours. And here you can see our rainfall rates continue to be anywhere from 2 to upwards of 3 inches per hour. So we're just going to wait for that tornado warning to officially clear from the National Weather Service. We've been tracking this from Burlington County toward Ocean County, and any minute now you'll likely see this warning expire unless they decide to issue one a bit farther east. But at this point, it looks like our main threat is damaging winds as this line of thunderstorms continues to move its way toward the Jersey Shore. So here we can see our radar image once again. And Paul, did that warning expire or did you just take it off? Okay, it's still there. The tornado warning is still there right now as this line of thunderstorms works its way toward Brick, Surf City, Atlantic City, the Garden State Parkway. You'll want to seek shelter as this line of dangerous thunderstorms continues to move its way toward the shore. And it looks like our tornado warning has officially cleared. If any additional tornado warnings get issued by the National Weather Service, we'll be breaking into coverage. For now, I'm going to send it back to Christy.
Okay, Brittany, thank you. And we have been following severe weather for the last 2.5 hours. Our tornado warning just expired. Brittany Boyer will have more information if anything were to pop back up. For now, we're going to send it back to regular programming.